I'm Bridget with the Clear Lake Township Land Conservancy, and today we are going to sample at the Harry Teeter stream. We're going to pick through the bugs and try to assess what we have. To collect our sample, we are going to use a dip net, and the way you use a dip net is along the bottom of the stream, you jab to pull up a sample. And then you take the sample and you pour it into a bucket, and we'll take that bucket and we'll pick through and find out what bugs we have. Do you ever wonder why the water appears green? In this case, our sample has two native aquatic plants, duckweed and watermeal. Duckweed is a plant that grows on the surface of the water, and it sends down a couple of roots and it collects everything that it needs to grow right from the water. Watermeal is the smaller species that you see here in our sample, and it floats on the top of the water. Both provide a good food source for different waterfowl and animals that live in our lake streams and rivers. So we collected our sample using our dip net. We put it into our bucket, and now we are at our office here at Memorial Woods. What we're going to do is take a subsample of our sample, which we have here. We're going to sort and try to see if we find any bugs. So specifically what we're looking for are aquatic macroinvertebrates. What are aquatic macroinvertebrates? Did you say a water bug that we can see with the naked eye? You are correct. Let's break that down a little. Aquatic equals water. Macro is big, or something that we can see without the use of a microscope. And invertebrate is without a backbone. So an aquatic macroinvertebrate is a large bug that lives in the water. Macroinvertebrates live in streams, lakes, rivers, and wetlands, and they're a very important food source for fish. Because different types of macroinvertebrates tolerate different levels of pollution, we can take a sample, and based on what is present and absent, we can determine water quality. We pulled our sample, we have our subsample, now we're ready to pick through and see what kind of bugs we have. Aquatic macroinvertebrates, because they live in bodies of water that can move swiftly, like to attach to leaf material, rocks, twigs. So as you're picking through your sample, you want to look at all of that to make sure there's nothing on those pieces of material. Today we are going to look at this critter here. Using a dichotomous key, we are going to try to identify what we have found in our sample. So a dichotomous key is one of my favorite tools out there. Basically, you answer a series of questions and you can come to what you're looking at for a variety of plants, animals, trees, bugs, butterflies. So using our key and our sample, we're going to start at the very top. Does it have a shell or no shell? If you answered no shell, you are correct. Now, does it have legs or no legs? Take a close look. If you answered legs, you are correct. So within 2 questions, we've eliminated all of these possible options. So we come down, does it have 10 pairs of legs, 4 pairs of legs, or 3 pairs of legs? If you answered 3 pairs of legs, you are correct. Now, does it have wings or no wings? In this case, no wings. So with a few questions, we were able to eliminate all of these possible options, and now we just have one more series of questions to go. We look at its hindquarters. Does it have no obvious tail, 1 or 2 tails, or 3 tails? Well, in this case, if you said no obvious tail, you are right. So we have just a handful of options. Is it brown, leather-like, with 6 legs, usually C-shaped? I wouldn't say it's C-shaped, so it's not a riffle beetle larva. Does it have 6 legs and prolegs on the abdomen? Prolegs are little extra legs that are along its side body here. I don't see any of the prolegs, so it's not a pyralid caterpillar. Is it a suction cup? Does it look like a suction cup? I wouldn't say it does. Does it have a large body with a hinged mouth? I would say possibly. We'll keep going through the list. Is it green, tan, or orange with a white body? It's not green, it's not orange, it's not white. It is tan, but we'll come back to that one. Does it live in a stone case? I don't see a stone case around this macroinvertebrate, so it's not a caddisfly larvae. Does it live in a stick house? I don't see a stick house around it either. So our option then that we came back to is the dragonfly larvae. And if you look closely, you can see that it resembles a dragonfly larvae. The interesting thing about that is a dragonfly larvae will emerge and become dragonflies. The things that we see and we're all familiar with that grow and live around our lakes, streams, and rivers, they start their life cycle as an aquatic macroinvertebrate. So they live in the water and then emerge to become a flying, beautiful bug that we all are familiar with. So why does this matter? This is important because when we do sampling, like I said earlier, depending on what macroinvertebrates are in the water or what are not in the water, we can have some idea of water quality. So using the Hoosier River Watch monitoring data sheet, we can assess our sample and mark off what we have present. So in group 1, which is intolerant, that means that they cannot live in polluted waters. We have a variety of aquatic macroinvertebrates that are in this column. The second group is moderately intolerant, meaning that they can sustain life within a moderate amount of pollution. The third is fairly tolerant, and the fourth is very tolerant. So, do you think that if we find bugs only in very tolerant, the water is healthy or possibly polluted? Did you say possibly polluted? You're right. Very tolerant means that they can live in very polluted waters. So today we found a dragonfly larva, and if we look on our data sheet, that is in group 2. So group 2 is moderately intolerant. We cannot base a stream's health on one critter that we find, so we would continue sampling our entire sample here and mark off all that we find and come to an average. That average then would be used to determine if we have excellent, good, fair, or poor water quality in that particular stream.